This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm with Kathy Kennebrook, and we're going to be talking about direct mail marketing. That's the biggest question of the day. I hear it every day, all day long. How do I find a deal, Mitch? So we're getting ready to talk to Kathy, and we're going to hone in on the direct marketing mail piece and 24 other ways to find all the motivated sellers you might ever need. So how you doing, Kathy?
Well, how are you, Mitch? Good to see you again.
I'm doing good. So this is a really big topic. People are always, because, the rubber meets the road when you find a deal. Nothing happens till you find a deal and make a deal. So
absolutely. And with our current market being the way it is, and with the current market shift that we're going through right now, finding the deals becomes even more important to the success of everyone's business.
Yeah. People say, isn't it getting tough to find houses right now because it's a seller's market and everything's going for over list price and there's multiple offers. I said, yeah, if you walk down the regular street, that's what's regularly happened. But you got to get off the regular street. We got to go over here on the street where the chaos is, the right. Death and the divorce and the bankruptcy and the transfers and wherever there's chaos happening, there's usually a piece of real estate associated with it somewhere.
Exactly.
And something's got to happen with it. Either you're going to get it or someone else is going to get it. So, I tell people I live where there's chaos, where there's change, great change, sudden change. And that's where I do my business. So where should we start with this topic? We're going to be talking about direct mail. Give us a little bit about your history. How long have you been in the housing business and how long have you been using these direct mail techniques?
Well, we started with direct mail from the very beginning, and the very beginning is 20 plus years ago now. Wow, time flies.
It's not rocket science. It's not like we're inventing things, although things and technology and cultures change. So you got to keep morphing the same old idea. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You got to keep taking advantage of the new technology and the time saving or the targeting. Honing in on your target better, faster, easier, and then adjusting your message. And so mailing out for a customer is not new. How you do it, when you do it, how often you do it might change all the time.
Exactly. And what I do is completely different than anybody else does. And I don't understand why, but it is. And Mitch, the reason that we originally got into direct mail marketing was that we're talking 20 plus years ago. When my husband and I got married, he was like the really shy guy that didn't like talking to anybody. And so we figured that if we could get the sellers contacting us first, that it would make him more comfortable. Well, what we found was that everyone had a bit of that, including the sellers that we were dealing with. So that was number one. Then we started honing in and targeting on specific kinds of sellers who were much more likely to want to work with us. And then within each one of those lists, we refined that criteria in such a way that the more highly motivated sellers were contacting us and we were putting together deals. Now, something else that I did, and the reason that I say what I do is so different than anybody else, we put a response mechanism in the direct mail campaigns that we do that tells the sellers what I want them to do and what information I need from them in order to determine if there's a deal there. If you don't tell your seller what you want them to do, they're not going to do anything at all. And if a seller is giving you the information that you need to determine if there's a deal there, then the deal is pre-screened when it hits your desk and you're not wasting more time on or obstacles with people that don't really want to deal with you. And nobody else does that. It's amazing.
Okay, so everybody's a marketer, right? No matter what business you're in.
Right.
So if you're not marketing, your life is going to be tough. I mean, if you're married, you market every day, your spouse. So,
That's true.
So tell us why you pick mail campaign over everything else.
Because we wanted to be reaching the sellers that nobody else knew about and sellers who would never get our message in any other way. I mean, you know as well as I do that when you see an advertisement on television or whatever, it's there, it's gone. It's real easy for you if you get an email to hit the delete button and it's gone. And same thing with, not everybody spends their day on the internet and not everybody reads the newspaper. But the direct mail marketing makes it really convenient for the seller to hold on to your piece and have it when they need it. And I've proven that over and over and over. When we do direct mail campaigns, Mitch, we get responses now, next week, next month, next year, because they hold on to those pieces until they need our service, and then they contact you. So you're constantly sowing seeds for future deals.
Now, the oldest direct mail piece that I've ever received a deal from was 6 years old.
Yeah, I believe it. That's about right. About
and
5.
when asked, because when they showed me the postcard, they said, you probably want to see this postcard. I said, why? He says, because this postcard's old.
Yeah.
I said, how old? They said, I don't know. They said about 6 years. So I looked at it and I thought, wow. I haven't used that color scheme and all that for a long time. I said, so how does this happen? He said, we knew that this property would have to be liquidated sooner or later. I mean, people don't live forever. She was my mom or my grandma or whatever it was. We just put it in the file along with the will and the other important papers, just so that when it came time, we figured if you were still in business after all this time, you must be doing something right. So we called the number and you answered. So we figure you're still in business. So
we actually did a deal like that last week where it was an estate and the daughter was going through dad's desk and she had found 2 letters from us because we do residual mailings. And she said the same thing. Well, if you guys have been in business this long, apparently you know what you're doing. And we're in the middle of buying that one right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. So where do you start? I guess it all starts with a list. How do you know who to mail to? Because you don't want to just send out to anybody, right? You got to send out to a target.
Right. And the way that I would suggest to our folks on the podcast with us today is look at what your demographic is. I live in Florida. I'm in the geriatric capital of the world. So, hey, I'm getting there myself, Mitch. I can say that. So for me, it's like out-of-state owners because we have a lot of people that are vacationing here. They bought retirement homes, that kind of thing. We do a lot of estate and probate. I do a lot of vacant homes, things like that. So what I suggest to your folks, first, take a look at your demographic. What is your demographic look like? What kinds of sellers are you going to be dealing with? Then figure out which list you would like to mail to first. Number of different ways to get those lists. They can get it from their property appraiser or assessor's office. They can get it from the tax collector's office. If they're working with me, I provide the resources for the list brokers, no matter where they live in the country. So there's a lot of good ways for them to get reliable lists. Anytime you're doing a direct mail campaign, mail out 100 pieces so that you are testing that list. How many bad addresses did we get? How many responses did we get? How many deals did we make? If you get letters back that are marked vacant or deceased, post office just did your job before you get busy. So that's really how I kind of tell them to really hone in on these lists that they're going to be looking for.
Okay. So you made an interesting comment there. I don't know if people heard it or not. But when you get a mail piece that comes back, return to sender because no one's there by that name anymore. That's a high quality lead, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if your letter didn't get there, no one else's letter got there. That's actually, one of the things that we do. And I bought 100 houses a year for well over 2 decades, right. About 2,000 houses. I mean, I've been a prolific buyer. One of the things that we do is when we mail out like 10,000. But when I live in a city, of 1 million, 2.5 million people, we'll mail out 10,000, really just trying to get the 400 or 500 return postcards. Because after that, we don't even, maybe we get a call, maybe we don't, whatever. We've got those 400 or 500 returns and we're going to town on those, trying to find out where is this guy that used to live here that owns this house that doesn't live here anymore. Because if my letter didn't get to him, no one else's letter got to him. That's been a big one for us. Skip tracing. We've gotten pretty good at finding people. So you get these lists. you start to hone them down. You start to get your, what do you say, a little tracking, right? You're starting to do some scorecarding.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you say you do 100 at a time. Why 100?
What do you mean 100 letters at a time?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, I thought you said you do 100 letters at a time. I thought that's kind of low.
No. I'm talking about testing a list. When you have a brand new list in front of you and you're testing that list, I want you to mail out 100 pieces.
Okay, to test
see
it.
if that list is going to be what you need it to be, and then start, because I don't want them to go out and mail 500, 600, 700, 800 pieces and then find out that they've got a bad list. So that's one of the things I always tell a person to do is when you're testing a list, mail out 100 pieces to find out whether or not this is going to be an advantageous or a good list for you to continue to use. We actually only mail out about 1,500 pieces a month total over the 2 or 3 or 4 lists that I use. And the reason for that is not only am I targeting the list, for example, out-of-state owners, but then within that, we're using very specific criteria to hone that list in even further, to hone in on the most highly qualified sellers in each group, which is why my response rates are excellent. I'm getting 4, 5, 6, 7% response rates from my mailings because we're honing, number one, and number two, because we're using that response mechanism. And so the quality of the deals and the quality of the responses that we're getting are so much better and higher.
So what you're saying is, you're not just doing the out-of-state filters, you're also putting other filters down there. They might have out-of-state and I don't know, nuisance and abatement judgments, but that means less people fall down into the bucket, which means higher, but they're more qualified. So your theory is, if I'm getting this right, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you put on a lot of filters so you don't have to mail a lot. You're just mailing to the top 1,500 prospects in the whole city.
Exactly. And some of the other filters might be the oldest sale dates. It might be the highest equity spreads, things like that. So we're using real specific filters within each list, and they're different depending on which direct mail campaign we're doing.
Yes, I get it. Very, very smart. So tell me some more. Where we got the list now, we got the filters. What's next?
Well, responding.
Do you send them out to land on a certain day of the week? I mean, I know some people really believe that they should land on certain days.
I don't feed into that. They get mailed every day. I mean, and we have people that do the direct mail campaigns for us. So maybe they did 100 letters today, maybe they do 200 tomorrow, maybe, so they're kind of getting mailed in on a kind of consistent basis. And that's something that I would say. Any kind of marketing that you're doing in your business needs to be consistent. Like you've got to do something all the time. Not mail out 300 letters today and then a month from now I'll mail out 200 more and then wonder why you didn't get a really good response. So you want to be very consistent in what you're doing. Then you want to be tracking where your responses are coming from, which direct mail campaigns are working well for you, what kind of response rate are you getting? And you need to track what's going on in your business, because you're going to end up taking a piece of the profit from each deal and putting it back into your business to the things that are bringing you the highest response rate. And we got to respond to the sellers. And when the responses hit my desk, Mitch, typically I get virtually everything I need from the seller. For example, I had a seller that contacted us 2 weeks ago, and he sent us the manila 9.5 by 11 envelope with the clasp on the top, and I open it up, and in there he's got a copy of a plat map, which I didn't ask for. And in there he's got a copy of his deed, which I didn't ask for. And then in the envelope was a 2-page letter telling me everything since his grandfather built the property and 7 photographs of the property inside and out. Is this a motivated seller? This is what I deal with daily on my desk, because we're telling the sellers what we want them to do and what we want from them in order to determine if there's a deal. And nobody else does it but me.
Yeah. So you send in letters or postcards or a combination of both?
Letters. And the reason that we do letters is because, one, we want to address the seller specific situation. Number 2, we want to give them that response mechanism. And number 3, we want to give them as many ways to contact us as we can. So we're giving them phone number, email address, mailing address, website address, and so forth. Because the more ways you give a seller to contact you, the more of them are going to, because you're going to be reaching them at whatever their comfort level is.
I understand.
So we got to have more space.
I understand. So you also wrote a book called Your Personal Path to Prosperity, and it's about how you might navigate this creative real estate environment to become financially free. So if you guys want a copy of that book, go to 1000houses.com/D as in direct mail, okay, D mail. And that'll get you over to the show notes. That'll get you the ebook and you can download it, but it'll also give you a link to the Marketing Magic, which is all about how to do this direct mail marketing campaign. Now you can go try to figure it out on your own yourself, or you can work with Kathy and her team, and they can get you on the fast track to getting this done. And you want to talk about what Marketing Magic is about and how someone gets involved and why they would get involved?
I sure would. Okay, so my Marketing Magic system consists of 12 different direct mail campaigns with all of the directions that you need to do each one. So you just pull that section out, give it to the person who's going to do the mailings for you, and you're ready to rock with your direct mail campaigns. I also provide 24 other marketing techniques and samples of all of them in there. I also discuss compiling other types of mailing lists that you might want to be looking at. Like the evictions and the divorces and people that are getting married and obituaries and estate sales, things like that. So I got Mitch, this is the only marketing system they'll ever need to do all the deals that they would want today, tomorrow, next week, next year, on and on and on. And over the last 14 years since I developed that product, it's honed and updated and updated and updated. We've just done a complete update to it in December. And now all of the forms, all the letters and everything are on USB. So we just did all of that. So it's awesome. It's just, and I'm going to include a whole bunch of bonuses for them. I'm not going to go through all that with them right this minute, but when they go to your page, there are all those bonuses, and exactly what we're offering is laid out there for them.
Yeah, so to get the whole thing and spelled out for you from A to Z, go to 1000houses.com/D-mail. Now, this is a really, really good opportunity for someone who's new in the business or young in the business and haven't got a pipeline full, and you're a little bit concerned about how you're going to do that. This is a good place to start because you got the expertise of someone who's been doing it for a long time. They've organized it for you. You're just shortcutting the whole thing. You're paying some kind of price. And you know, look, some people don't like to talk about price on the show like this. I like to ask. I like to know the price myself so I can tell it. But I always preface it with this. Look, Kathy's got a price today. It's August the 24th, 2021. She can change her price at any minute if she wants to, up or down. But right now, how much does it cost to get involved with you?
$1,197. And on top of all the other bonuses, they also get me for a full year. They get my personal email address, so they can ask me any marketing question that they have. So once they invest in my system and they start to implement, they have me for a full year at their disposal. So I'm not leaving them flying in the wind. I want to help them succeed and do a super good job with their marketing so they can start getting some deals done. And I'll tell you, Mitch, right now is a really fabulous time to start with direct mail marketing. Couple of reasons. One is we're moving toward the holiday season, guys. For example, our property tax bills come out the 1st of November. So we start increasing the number of direct mail campaigns that we do from October to March. And that's when we do the highest number of deals in our business. That's number one. Number two, you've got property tax bills. You've got the holiday season. They're opening everything. They're reading your letter. And then with this market shift, there are people out there who are looking for a solution and they don't know what to do. So there's just so many good reasons to get started and get moving and get some deals done.
Okay, so the price again is what?
$1,197.
Okay, so at $1,197, boys and girls. What's the average profit on a deal? Would you guess, Kathy? I'm going to say 20,000.
Yep.
Would you guess about that?
Yep, about that.
Yeah. So if you had to pay $1,200 to find a $20,000 deal, and then you had the knowledge and you had all the things that came with it, still, even after you paid for it, you still had it. You can still use it again and again and again and again. This is kind of a stupid no-brainer idea. Like, to think that if you're sitting there flat-footed right now and don't have a game or don't have enough deals, this is a no-brainer.
It is.
Pay your $1,200. You do what you're told, which is the easiest thing to do. Do what someone's telling you to do, and then find another deal. You find one deal, you're paid for. If it's an average deal, 12 or 13 or 14 times over.
Exactly.
And then the deals after that are just infinity because you don't have anything invested anymore. So you're just to the good. And you'll learn some things, you'll learn some techniques, and you won't have to invent the wheel. That's really what you're paying for. The $1,200 is someone has sat down and already got all the pieces of paper, got all the forms, got all the scripts. It's just, if you paid an assistant to help you set it up yourself, you'd probably pay the assistant $1,200, and you'd have to go through all the anxiety of figuring it out.
Yeah.
So,
I wish I had a me 20 years ago.
No kidding.
It was already done and already in place, and I didn't have to procrastinate. I didn't have to figure out what to do next. All the steps were right there for me.
Okay, tell us one of your greatest successes from a campaign like this.
Oh, one of my favorite ones, actually one of the largest deals we've ever done, was with a Major League Baseball player. And he was a pitcher for a Major League Baseball team. Shoulder injury, career over. And the house had been partied in heartily. And down here in Florida, the house was 13,000 square feet. For us, that's big. 3-story house. We don't have basements. So, a true 3-story house. If we had a basement, it'd be underwater. So it had 11 bathrooms, 6 bedrooms, 2-story game room, 2.5 kitchens, sauna, jacuzzi, trophy room, the whole 9 yards. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous house. And it had been on the market for $1.2 million and hadn't sold because it had been partied in heartily. When you walk into the game room, it had this beautiful big game room, corner fireplace, kegerators, whole deal. And you walk in the room and the carpet in the room went squish, squish, squish. It was beer. You know what beer smells like after 12 months that house had been on the market? It smelled just like cash. It smelled just like money. We bought that house, Mitch, for $650,000. We did about $80,000 of rehab to it. We put it back on the market. We sold it for $1 million cash and walked away with $159,000. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Well, there you go.
And the baseball player actually did a marketing package for us for the buyer. So we had all the signed memorabilia, and we put a package together for the buyer. So it was really, really cool.
Wow, that's pretty nice. I go out there to hit base hits all day long. That's what I try to do. I'm just trying to hit base hits, just regular, typical deals. I'm just trying. I can't help it. Every now and then I hit a double and a triple, and every now and then I hit a home run, and every now and then I hit a grand slam. If you're out there kicking the ball around, you can't help it. So, again, I want you guys to get a copy of the book, Your Personal Path to Prosperity. And I also want you to check out what's all included in this marketing magic course. Not course. Well, it is kind of a course. It's a how-to. It's a jump starter. What?
It's a system.
A system. That's what I'm saying. Jumpstart your way right into getting some leads right away. Go to 1000houses.com/DMail, as in direct mail, DMail, /DMail. And there you'll be able to get in contact with Kathy. She'll give you all the information you need to, if not make a decision, at least have some questions and call and get them answered. Okay. So everything will be over there. I don't know, anything you want to say before maybe we wrap it up? Kathy, you've got, this is really good for new people and for veterans, because sometimes us veterans, we stray away from the things that made us the money, or we get off the basics. And this is a basic. It's a basic, which, like you said, needs to be consistent. It needs to be all the time. Now, you did say you have a season from October to March that you ramp it up a little bit because you got the income tax
bills. And so for everybody, that's going to be a little different, but yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's always good during Christmas and New Year's. And people say, well, no one's doing anything during Christmas. Well, let me tell you, no one is, except for you and the one guy that needs to desperately sell his house so he can have a Christmas.
Exactly.
So
right.
I have learned if I stay open during the holidays, I have broken all my records in the month of December.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one that answers the phone. If I decide to stay open in December, I'm the only one that'll be answering the phone consistently and taking care of business. And chaos doesn't care if it's December or April or January or March. It doesn't care. Chaos and death and divorce and past due bills, there's just as many of that stuff happening in December as in any other month. And when someone needs to do something, they need to do something. I attribute the fact that I broke all my records in December is because everyone else is off drinking eggnog. I decided I was going to bust ass that year.
Yep. I actually put a house under contract on Thanksgiving Day in 2020. That was the only 2 days the seller was going to be in town. I swear to you, this is true. The seller was in my kitchen mashing potatoes and I was writing the contract. Swear to God, that's the truth. So yeah, you're absolutely
I don't doubt it. So check it out, you guys. Marketing Magic, 12 direct mail campaigns plus 24 additional marketing techniques to help you find all the motivated sellers you'll ever need. So check it out, 1000houses.com/D mail. That's D as in direct mail. And I don't know, anything you want to say before we maybe wrap it up?
Well, I'm looking forward to working with your folks. There is, besides the direct mail, there are 24 really unique marketing tools in there. There are some really good free marketing tools in there. So if we have some beginners, on the call with us, and that's another thing too with the direct mail. Even if you're only mailing, I've got letters and testimonials, stacks of them from students who are only mailing 50 or 100 letters a week, and they're doing deals. So it's not like you've got to spend a lot of money to get yourself started. So that's another thing. The system is completely flexible. You can start today. You can do the mailings yourself. You can hire someone to do the mailings for you, or I have company resources for companies who'll do all the mailings for you. So the system is also completely flexible in that way. However you want to start is completely up to you. So again, it's a tool you're going to use today, tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now. And it just, and your business and you will grow and change. Like you, Mitch, gosh, years ago, 10, 15 houses a month was nothing. Well, now I'm moving to being kind of an old fart or an older fart. So we're doing fewer deals, but more luxury type properties. So our paychecks are bigger. And my rehab guys love it because they get to stay on one project longer instead of moving from house to house to house to house. They get to stay on one project longer. And our paychecks are much bigger now. So for me, that larger paycheck and fewer deals is where I want to be right now. But years ago, we were doing 10, 15 deals a month. So you can do whatever you want to do in your business that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So I hope the newbies out there were paying attention. Sometimes if you can only afford to send 100 or 200 or 150 or 50, then you send what you can send. What happens is you're hoping, you're being consistent till you get lucky or till you make a strike. And then you'll make $10 or $15 or $20,000. And then now you have a budget and now you're starting to roll.
Exactly.
So if you're new out there and you don't have a lot of resources, you just have to do what you can do until you hit one.
Right.
And then, be careful when you hit one. You got to roll some of that money back into your business. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can't stick it all and go buy a boat or something. You got to keep feeding your business. So, and I'm sure she talks about that, the importance of putting the money back in, because for every deal you make, you got to take some money back out of it to replenish the advertising budget that made that deal happen. It's kind of common sense, but a lot of times that piece gets missed. I have private lenders, and I borrow money from my private lenders, and I always borrow $2,000 extra than what everything I can add up, because it costs about $2,000 on average to find a house that you can buy for 50 cents on the dollar.
Right.
Right. So I always borrow. People like, what's the other 2,000 for? It's for the advertising. Right.
Exactly. I do the same thing.
I do about 100 houses a year. So if I did not get the 2,000 out of my, from my private lenders for the house and borrow it back, that'd be $200,000 a year. In 5 years, that's $1 million.
Right.
That because I didn't take that little bitty $2,000 out on every transaction.
Exactly. We've always done the same thing with our business as well. And back to your point, Mitch, there's a whole section in my manuals that covers their budget, how much they should be investing, how much, what each kind of thing costs. So I completely cover budget in there for them as well. I want them to have every tool that they can possibly have to grow their real estate investing business. I also teach them how to work with realtors in their business, what kinds of deals realtors should be bringing to them. Right now, maybe not so much, but this market isn't going to stay forever. So as your market changes and as the demographic that you're marketing to changes, my system will work with them no matter what's happening.
When you said right now, maybe the realtors not so much, I find that not to be true, because right now the realtors, the fruit's hanging so low that it's so easy that when they find a dump, they don't want to jack with it.
That's true. You're absolutely
it's too
right.
Easy. When they find something that's broken, slab or fire or whatever the case may be, foundation, whatever the case may be, they don't want to mess with it because it's too easy right now to just go get a listing and sell it in a day.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Good point.
Yeah. So, all right, Kathy, this is exciting. I really hope people do this. How do I say? This episode was a little salesier than I normally do. I'm usually big on the content, but on this one, it's such a no-brainer. And I know Kathy for a long time. I know she puts out a quality product. She's saying you're going to have her for a year, her email address if you sign up.
Yep.
I really don't see how you go wrong with this. The only way you go wrong is if you buy it and you don't do anything. If you're going to buy it and not do anything, then don't waste your money.
Right.
But if you're going to buy it and follow through, this will work. It always works. It's just a matter, do you work it? Do you know how to work it? Have you been paying attention? Because this works. It's just a matter of time. So Absolutely. Check it out, 1000houses.com/D-mail, as in direct mail. And I guess that's it, Kathy. I appreciate you taking the time to be on, and I wish you success with this. And I wish all of y'all out there who are floundering, I hope you pay attention here, because this can be a way to get your pipeline full. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you having me on the call again. And, we work real hard with your folks that come to us from the podcast. If they have questions, I'm more than glad to help. And again, they have me one-on-one for a year to answer any question that they may have by email. And they call me the fastest guru in the East, West, North, and South because I'm really receptive and I really support my students and my customers because I want them to be successful. I want them to do as well as we have,
Well, there's no doubt that you're passionate about it and that you do fulfill, because this isn't the first time or the first thing that we've pushed that you do. And we would know by now if
that's right.
You were shallow, and you're not shallow. You're very deep, and you care a lot about your people. And I know enough about this, what you're talking about, that $1,200 is a real value. I know you said it $1,197, but I'll just call it what it is. It's $1,200. It's a big deal. $1,200 is nothing. What's going to cost your ass is if you don't figure out a way to find some houses, because if you're trying to get away from that job, or you've lost a job and you're trying to find an income, you don't have any time to waste. Either way, you don't have any time to waste. So check it out, 1000houses.com/D-mail, as in direct mail. All right, Kathy, I'd like to thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me again, Mitch. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to working with your folks. the folks in your group that we have worked with that have come off the podcast, they're so excited. They're just hungry to do more deals. And I really enjoy working with those folks. So thank you to everybody who's on the podcast. And thank you for taking a few minutes to listen. And I hope you get to implement, because this is such a great way to build a really strong cornerstone for your business, for your real estate investing business.
All right, you guys, this is Mitch Stephen with the 1000houses.com podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by to get you some Kathy Kennebrook and learn about her marketing magic. Check it out, 1000houses.com/D-mail, as in direct mail. That's it. We're out of here, boys and girls. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.